the end of Season 1 coming to Zenless Zone 0, a lot of agents were introduced, which also means a lot of pulls, and we may very well have the luckiest account so far in Season 1. Hey, what's going on guys? It's Johnity, and welcome to another Zenless Zone 0 video. In today's video, just a fun casual one as we're going down memory lane and reviewing my entire pull history for Season 1 on the exclusive channel. Now I play a lot of gacha games like Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, and other non-Hoyo ones too, and I have to admit, the stats on my Bell account are something I never seen before. I think a lot of you will also be surprised as I was because it's kind of unreal. To help better visualize the pull history, we're gonna be using rng.moe, which will be linked in the description box below in case any of you guys want to check it out. I do keep a record of my pull history, just nice to have something to look back to. Now without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Starting with the launch of the game, Ellen was the first exclusive limited time agent introduced. This channel was pretty good as well because Sukaku was included, who pairs really well with Ellen. Luckily, we managed to get 5 copies of Sukaku and even beat our first 50-50 for Ellen on the 82nd pull. Soft Pity does start at 75, so we did go a bit over, but what's most important is beating that 50-50 since it essentially saves you on average 75 plus pulls. I was extremely happy with being our first 50-50. There's always something about the first that makes the experience more nerve-wracking. I also didn't have any intentions of re-rolling, so what we got was what we're going to get. A very good start to our Zenless journey. For Phase 2, Juyuan makes her debut introducing PubSec as a faction, and one of the best supports in the game is featured, Nicole. Originally, I was planning on skipping Juyuan on Bell since she did already have Ellen, and I wanted to start forming some squads on my Wise account. However, after playing Juyuan on Wise, I just loved her playstyle and had to try to get her on Bell too. At the start, it was looking pretty good. I managed to get 4 copies of Nicole, which helped to build up my account. But unfortunately, on the 80th pull, we failed our first 50-50 and got Rena. Hey, Johnity, I thought you said this was the luckiest account. What the heck? Okay, I know this looks bad, but trust me, it gets a lot better. Since Bell didn't get Juyuan, I decided to save up and pass on Qingyi. Fast forward to Phase 2 of version 1.1, Jane debuts as a killer anomaly agent, dealing massive assault damage. In some way, she definitely started shifting the meta, dealing absurd amounts of damage with attribute anomalies and acting as a hyper carry who wants a lot of field time. Seth was also introduced to pair with Jane and anomaly agents, so a must pull for Bell since the goal is to try to get every agent. Sadly, we didn't get a single Seth, but that's because Jane came swooping in on the 16th pull! Getting an S rank that early is huge because it saves so much. It definitely made me feel better about failing on the Juyuan banner. Version 1.2 arrives and expands the Sons of Caledon, featuring their leader, Caesar. Honestly, this one was a no-brainer for me. When I saw Caesar's shield and the uptime of it, all I could think about was Zhongli. Jokes aside, since I do no damage, no hit challenges, we don't actually use the shield for survivability, but the buffs and debuffs she provides makes her an insanely good unit. She also has a very bubbly personality, which I love. I decided to pull for her to strengthen our account since my goal was to also consistently clear the endgame content for the extra sources of polychromes. We then beat the 50-50 and got Caesar on the 77th pull, which is not bad at all, only 2 pulls above the Soft Pity. Our fiery hot gal Bernice makes her debut in Phase 2, but since Bell was pretty broke, I decided to pull for Bernice on Wise instead since he didn't really have an anomaly team yet. And let me tell you, I'm glad I skipped her on Bell because you'll see the most Cinderella story ever later. No exaggeration! Finally, the famous heroes of New Eridu makes their debut in version 1.3, HSO Section 6, featuring Yanagi. At least S ranks. This one's actually kind of funny because initially, I wasn't planning on pulling for Yanagi on Bell yet, since Wise had Bernice and I wanted to pair both together. However, Wise unfortunately failed the 50-50, and I didn't want to not experience Yanagi at all, so plan B, pull on Bell. I was really nervous about this one because failing the 50-50 could eat up a lot of resources, and let's be real, Miyabi was coming soon and I needed to save up a decent amount to guarantee her. The Holy Archons heard our plea and decided to descend and grace us. At least with being the 50-50 on the 77th pull, so same as our last session with Caesar, which is huge. So far, our pacing is really good. We only failed the 50-50 once so far, and even then, Jane was practically free. Phase 2 of version 1.3 actually went back to the Sons of Caledon, introducing Lighter as an insane fire stun agent for both fire and ice attributes, who's the first to actually be able to extend the stun duration. Introducing a new mechanic and having coverage for 2 different attributes honestly sounded pretty good, especially since I did have Ellen, and eventually I was planning on pitying Soldier 11 since she is one of my favorites. Our streak continued as we were able to beat the 50-50 and bring Lighter home on the 78th pull. Version 1.4 was kind of a big milestone for Zenless because it was kind of a soft relaunch. Pre-registration rewards, free polychromes, introduction to Marcel Maze, which eventually took over the TV monitor array, and the release of not 1 but 2 new S-rank agents at the same time, entering Miyabi and Haramasa. This version definitely helped a lot because we got a lot of polychromes and a free Haramasa, which means 1 less S-rank agent that I have to pull for. Meaning, for the entirety of 1.4, we just had to pull for the Void Hunter herself. I wasn't too nervous for this session because there was just a lot of time to save up for Miyabi, even if we do fail the 50-50. But luckily, it didn't lead to that, as we once again beat the 50-50 on the 76th pull, which is basically on the soft pity. I honestly couldn't believe our streak, and felt like Belle is just so blessed. Beating every 50-50 means saving them for future updates, which we'll definitely need because, yeah, we know what's coming next. Version 1.5 was actually the first version to include reruns, meaning we'll get a second chance to pick up some agents that we missed previously, which are Juyuan, Qingyi, and Bernice. However, it also introduced a new faction called the Stars of Lyra, with Astra Yao in Phase 1. This famous idol stole many of our hearts. For something we probably didn't realize is that she also stole the meta. It goes without saying that Astra's buffs are insanely good, but being the first agent to also heal and allow your squad to do 2 chain attacks through her ultimate is kinda busted. Astra Yao is a must pull. Singing her way onto our squad, we beat the 50-50 again, and for the first time ever, right on the soft pity at the 75th pull. Phase 2 of version 1.5 introduced a new fire attacker in Evelyn, who has insanely good synergy with Astra, specifically the chain attack aspect, since Evelyn's kit revolves around them. These two are insanely strong together, and for the most part, is probably the best 2-man unit. Evelyn is a must pull. Okay, I know everyone is a must pull, but can you blame me? Threading her way onto our squad, we once again beat the 50-50. This one was a little dicey because we were entering the 80 range, but did eventually get Evelyn on the 83rd pull, which is our highest so far, with Ellen on the 82nd. Super glad we managed to beat the 50-50 here because Evelyn's actually one of my favorite agents to play. Her playstyle is really fast paced, and I just love the creativity you can do with Evelyn as she's performing chain attacks. Finally, version 1.6 is here and expands on my favorite faction, Oboe Squad. For Phase 1, Soldier Zero Ambi arrives as an S-rank electric attacker. Ambi is such an iconic character when it comes to Zenless, and personally, one of my favorite characters, so you know I gotta pull for her. Pulchra was also featured on the same channel and had a lot of synergy with Aftershock, making this a great opportunity to get those mindscapes. We got a pretty decent amount too, obtaining 4 copies of Pulchra and once again beat the 50-50 for Soldier Zero Ambi on the 78th pull, continuing our streak. However, our pulls don't stop there for Phase 1, because Bernice was also getting a rerun, and remember, she was one of the agents that Belle didn't have. This one was actually a pretty difficult decision, because Trigger was coming in Phase 2, and rumors of Vivian were circulating, and there were just a lot of agents to pull for and build. Hence, why I waited for the last day. But nonetheless, we did ultimately decide to pull for Bernice on Belle. She's just too good, and when it comes to anomaly comps, can't fit in almost any of them. Yeah, remember those worries and concerns I had like 2 sentences ago? Well, they were thrown out the window because our luckiest pull session yet has arrived, with Bernice coming home on the first pull. This was absolutely insane. To get an S rank on the first pull and beat the 50-50, this was some dark magic happening. Trigger then arrives on Phase 2 as an electric stun agent who's able to provide off-field damage and daze while also boosting the enemy's stun damage multiplier without them being stunned. Needless to say, I need to get Trigger on my team, especially since her and Soja 11 are on the same squad. All good luck must come to an end eventually, guys. But not today, because we managed to beat the 50-50 again and got Trigger on the 83rd pull. Our Ova squad is looking to dominate. And last but not least is version 1.7, which is going to be the last version before 2.0. For phase 1, the Mockingbird makes their debut starting with Vivian as an Ether Anomaly agent. We have a pretty solid lineup for Anomaly, and Vivian was only going to expand on it more. For real this time, all good luck must come to an end, guys, as we finally did fail the 50-50 and actually our highest pull yet, going to the 84th pull where we got M1 Reina. I think I see a trend going on here. At this point, we did have enough to guarantee Vivian, and I did already pre-farm her materials, so there's no backing down now, as we did eventually get Vivian on the 77th pull, making this the first time we had to go the full distance for our S-rank agent. Vivian was actually my last agent I decided to pull for in Season 1, meaning I decided to skip on Hugo for now because I did want to save up as much polychromes as possible for version 2.0, which we know will introduce a lot of new characters. Honestly, we had a pretty insane run, beating 10 out of 12 50-50s and winning 9 straight 50-50s total. We didn't get many early agents, but when we did, we got them really early. Overall, I feel super blessed to have such a good start to Season 1. Zenless Zone 0 is my favorite game, and I can only hope that Season 2 will continue to bring us some good fortune as well, especially since we're going to Wayfei Peninsula, which actually has fortune readings of their own. Hope you guys have some form of luck for Season 1 and only better luck for Season 2. There's going to be a lot of cool agents coming, so definitely make sure to save up to strengthen your teams. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to smash that like and subscribe button. Don't forget also to turn that notification bell so you don't miss on any newly released videos. I've been Johnity, and until next time, I'll catch you guys in the next one.